Dato', thank you for joining us. You've been quite vocal in terms of addressing the imbalances in Malaysia, as it were. You've talked about amnesty as a potential solution. Dato', your brother is the Prime Minister of Malaysia. How urgently do you think the government and his administration should look at perhaps potentially introducing this solution into the system?
Well, I think, I wrote about a new approach to combating corruption about 4 years ago. Obviously I see it as an overdue priority, if you like, to combat corruption. I heard him this morning and he said we have heard the voters from the GE and there will be stronger emphasis on governance, transparency, etc. So I take it to mean that combating corruption will be a higher priority for his government. You've seen the appointment of a Paul Lau to specifically look at this whole area. We look forward to a new, more aggressive attack on corruption. I think amnesty itself obviously is not a solution. All I'm suggesting is that look at how Hong Kong transformed its approach to corruption very, very successfully in the 70s, and that came with huge strengthening of powers for the anti-corruption agency and the implementation of amnesty for past misdeeds.
Dato', how much of his ear do you have? And do you think that your suggested reforms might be better served by a place in government? And of course there is talk that you might be even positioned as finance minister one day, sooner if not later.
No, I think I run a major corporation in Malaysia, and I think all leading corporate figures have access and are able to make suggestions. I go and see him for appointments as everybody else does. Of course, there are family occasions, but we don't talk business at family occasions.
And of course, you run CIMB. It is a Southeast Asian corporation as you envisaged as early as 10-15 years ago. Is the Philippines the last piece of the jigsaw, or is there more to come?
I think Philippines is the last significant piece of the jigsaw. Obviously, we're also setting up a new presence in Laos, and hopefully we'll get our banking license in Vietnam. But in terms of the major ASEAN economies, Philippines is the missing link.
And what are the last remaining hurdles between yourselves and finality within Bank of Commerce?
Well, I think we're trying to refine the two agreements. One is a collaboration agreement, and one is the actual acquisition of the bank. It's just taking a little bit longer than normal. Hopefully, we will still get to a positive conclusion in the near term.
And on a broader international scale, Dato', all the talk is now of Fed tapering. What do you think the implications will be, if at all, in Southeast Asian deal flow?
I think that there could be some volatility at the beginning of the year. I did say in my annual report, etc., that the big challenge in 2013 is this global flow of liquidity, right? And even if you do nothing wrong, if there's an extraction of a lot of capital, it will create volatility. But the flip side is, if you look at Malaysia, for instance, Malaysian companies borrow very little in foreign currencies, and the domestic market itself is very liquid. But nevertheless, there will be some volatility in markets, both in terms of the equity market, currency markets, that we would have to weather in that scenario.
Okay, last question. Would you have a view on Southeast Asian interest rates for the next, say, 6 months?
I think different countries are running off different dynamics. I think you can see the pressure for Indonesia to raise interest rates, and I think they have to in the near term. I think Malaysia still looks okay. I don't think there's a pressing need to raise interest rates, whereas Thailand's gone the other way.
Dato', thank you so much for your time.